What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV, and in today's video, we are going to do a positional tier list for MLB The Show 23 Diamond Dynasty. I'm going to try to stick to their base positions as much as possible. We will do outfield, third base, shortstop, second base, first base, catcher, DH, starting pitchers, and relief pitchers. Now, the true number one overall outfielder has to be Babe Ruth with his primary position of right field. The only problem is his fielding is so bad that you would really not want to put him in the field unless you put him at first base, but he has to be the number one overall outfielder in the game right now. The number two outfielder that I have on my list is Ken Griffey Jr. There's a lot of reasons as to why. Number one, I think he has the best swing in the game. Extremely quick left on left if he faces a lefty. A lot of room for improvement if he goes up to parallel 5. Outstanding quirks. Outstanding reaction in the outfield. And to me, he just has a better swing than someone like Sammy Sosa. I'm extremely high on this card. I don't quite have him yet. I have about half of the BR program done that I streamed yesterday, but I cannot wait to get this card. In the next spot, we are going to go to Sammy Sosa. A little bit less speed, still amazing fielding, amazing hitting stats. Quirks are fine. It's really just his swing, which isn't bad, but it isn't good either. It's somewhere in the middle, but his math is just so powerful that he has to be way up there in the ratings. Next, I'm going to go with Jazz. Jazz is unbelievable, especially defensively in center field with 98 speed, 93 reaction, 97 fielding. His swing is unbelievable. He has that same quick swing that Griffey does if it's left on left. He's got 117 clutch, so you might not even be in that bad of a situation if you got runners on second and third, or a runner on second at least, and you have to face left on left. He's got dead red, he's got breaking ball hitter, and the cool thing about getting this card is I actually got him by just collecting no-sell cards. That's kind of how I plan on attacking the Set 1 program, is just trying to lock in cards that are already no-sell. So at this point in time in the game, you actually can get his card by just putting in no-sell cards, and he's phenomenal. At the number 4 spot, I have Mike Trout. Really both versions, this version or the WBC version. This version plays up a lot with inside edge. Not the best defender in the world. That's why I have him as my personal DH, because he has so much speed and he's so good at hitting. He's already parallel 4, which is one of the highest parallels that I have. And I really haven't had this card that long. He's just been that good. Next, we're going to go with Ricky Henderson. This is the best Ricky Henderson that we have ever had. And you throw in something like Shields Woods Park that has a ton of elevation, where you only need like really 60-some power to hit a home run. This card becomes incredible. 116, 109, 81, 91. I kind of like from the strike zone view how you can kind of see his swing. 97 reaction with 99 speed. Has 88 fielding. Couple more parallels. He'll have that diamond fielding and left. He's got great quirks as well. This is the best version of this card ever. 104 clutch, so not really losing too much there. Really like this card. So our true outfield here probably pretty soon would be like Griffey, Sosa, and maybe Henderson, and Jazz goes the second. But those are probably your best in the field outfielders: Griffey, Sosa, Jazz, and Ricky Henderson. Next up on the list are a couple of cards that I haven't used yet, and that is this Julio Rodriguez, who I'm sure is very good with the 91 fielding, the 99 speed, only has 76 reaction, has good power across the board, and has good quirks. This is going to be an excellent card. Then I have to put this card in the mix as well, Corbin Carroll. He's going for a ton, has a very good swing, doesn't have a lot of power versus left, but has that 99 speed in the outfield with 97 reaction and 92 fielding, so he can play all over the place. This is kind of like a Ricky Henderson type of card. No quirks, but still a really good card. Next on our list for the outfield would be Jim Edmonds. Now, he's a little bit slow with that 63 speed. Feel like you could stick him in a corner and he would be okay. His swing is unbelievable. Every single time that you would face a right-handed pitcher, he's going to blast out for a home run a lot of the time. So very good card here. Quirks-wise, has dead red, has breaking ball hitter, phenomenal swing. This card isn't on our list. I have not used him this year, but he seems phenomenal. This David Justice, really good. But the player that is next up on our list is Anthony Santander. This card is unbelievable. I know he has very bad defense, but he's very cheap right now, and he is one heck of a hitter. He has a phenomenal swing. Just ignore the 91 contact versus right. You don't have to worry about that. Great player. This card needs to be in your binder immediately. It's going to help you in events, can start for your team. Just a phenomenal card. The last outfielder that I want to talk about is this Mickey Mantle. This Mickey Mantle goes crazy. I know you can see he only has 70 some power, and I get it, but I've hit so many home runs, especially versus the computer with that 70 power. That is not an obstacle. He has a great swing, the switch hitting ability, a couple parallels. He's got gold fielding in center. He has 95 speed. He has all the quirks. He's phenomenal. You get him from the AL East collection, so it's kind of a lot, but this is a phenomenal card. I didn't even notice until today that he has a secondary position of third base. I love this card. The AL East was the first collection that I did to get this card. I'm a big fan of this card. I have to put it on the list. It doesn't seem like it would be that great of a card, but trust me, it's amazing. At third base, without a doubt, the best third baseman in the game is Chipper Jones. This is one of the best cards in the entire game also. You even make a case that it's the best with the secondary of shortstop. Ridiculous hitting stats. I mean, absolutely ridiculous hitting stats. 117 even on the clutch. Great defense for a third baseman. Like, gold defense is more than fine. Great speed for a third baseman at 76 speed. All the quirks. Phenomenal swing. He's kind of been the best third baseman for many years in MLB The Show. Next up at third base, we have Manny Machado, 117, 98, 103, 117. He's got a good swing, 125 on the clutch, 97 fielding with 49 speed. So he's not super fast, but he's not like in the 20s for his speed. No dead red, but does have breaking ball hitter. Has the secondaries of first base and shortstop. He's phenomenal, especially because of that 125 clutch. At number 3, I'm going with Moncada. He is like the budget version of Chipper Jones, has the secondary position of second base, extremely cheap, and this card is unbelievable. He could also be your DH. 101, 105, 97, 108. Look at him versus lefties. 105, 108. Ridiculous swing. We love switch hitters as well. That's so good for the lineup. He comes in at number 3. Number 4, we're going to go with Eddie Matthews. 109, 94, 120. 111, gold defense, 58 speed. He's kind of like Chipper, but he doesn't have that switch hitting ability, so I gotta go with Moncada above him. I just love that the legends have quirks. He's really good this year. Down at number 5, I have Murakami. You might like this card more than I do. For whatever reason, I just don't hit very well with this card, but I also haven't given this card much of a chance because he's a free agent from the WBC series. There's no way I can get any team affinity points using this card when I grind online to try to get some of those stats, so I haven't been using him as much. He's got 125 both sides and a ton of contact. He's got to be better than I'm giving him credit for on this list, and that's why I have to have him at least in the top 5. Your mileage may vary with this card. I'm just not a big fan of hitting left on left. His swing kind of reminds me of Christian Yelich's swing, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't been one of those cards where I use it. I'm like, I love this card, but I feel like that's just me. I don't feel like that's going to be everyone's experience by any stretch of the imagination. In our next slot here, I have Nolan Arenado, either his WBC version or his version for the Cardinals. Only 29 speed, but I can still rack up a ton of doubles. 99 fielding with 99 reaction on this card. And they redid his swing for this year, and it's phenomenal. It is one of the best swings in the game. Absolutely love using this card this year. In the number 7 slot, we're going to go with Jose Ramirez. I know his numbers, math-wise, look like they're down. He is playing up on inside edge today. Not very good defense, but he's just one of the best hitters in the history of MLB The Show. He has that switching ability. He's just so good at hitting home runs. Unbelievable swing. He's only 5'9", so he doesn't have a big strike zone, which makes it even tougher to pitch to him. He's definitely got to be in the mix. Great card. And finally on our list, I'm going to include Brooks Robinson. I'm using him a little bit. I like his secondaries of second and shortstop. That gives him some more value to play in different positions. Great fielding, but even with all that fielding, I've still had some hits go down the third base line against me, which it's like if you're going to have that much fielding on a card, you kind of want to see him make all the plays, but maybe a couple of times I should have dove. This swing is okay. It's not awful. It's not great. It's somewhere in between. This is a good card to use at a park like Shields Woods where that 80 power is just a ton, but he's got to be lower down on our list, even lower to me than a card like Jose Ramirez. Okay, let's talk about shortstop now. Derek Jeter is my number 1 shortstop. Amazing defense, amazing speed. His swing, I'm getting better with every single day. I'm kind of getting used to the timing of his toe tap. 125 clutch, so he's pretty much going 125 contact at all times. 101 power versus left. Has dead red. Be careful throwing him a fastball. Has unfazed, which is another good quirk. And overall, he's just a very balanced, fast, reliable defensively type of player. And that's why he's the collection reward as well. At number 2, I'm going to go with Trey Turner. Just not as good defensively. Trey's more of a player that with his secondary positions, you can just find a spot on your roster and put him wherever. So if you had to put him at second or third or in center field or maybe even your shortstop, but he has one of the best swings in the game. A ton of power versus left. Definitely has a better swing than Jeter. It's just the defense isn't there as much. Has dead red. Still a really good card. I just got to go with Jeter over him. At our number 3 spot, and you could even argue that this card could be number 1, is Francisco Lindor's WBC card. One of the best swings in the game. I've got him up to parallel 3, so he's above 100 on everything hitting-wise. Still has 102 clutch, so we're not worried about that there. 99 fielding with 99 reaction, 77 speed. It's really difficult to make a case that this card is not as good or better than Derek Jeter. I got to take Derek Jeter just by a slim margin, but this card is absolutely unbelievable. Only 28 to 30K as well, so could be one of the first cards that you go after. At the number 4 spot, we're going to go with Elly De La Cruz. There's one big problem with this card, and that is the clutch. He has 80 clutch, and that is what really made me sell back this card. So that is kind of like one of the cooler stories with this card though, or just in general as you're watching this video. So his price has gone down a little bit. I bought this card for like 88 to 90K, and then I resold it after I didn't want to use it because of that clutch at like 108K. So never be afraid to just buy a card on the buy order side, or just get the card sold to you, basically is what I'm trying to say. Because I ended up flipping his card back and making 6,000 stubs just to try out the card. He's still up there. It's just that 80 clutch is really, really tough. He has everything else that I want. He's even very tall to catch those line drives to keep them from going to the gap. Great speed, great swing. Doesn't have a lot of quirks. In fact, has 0. But the clutch is just really, really tough. I have to move him down to the 4th spot, but I have to keep him up there because he's still really, really good. Now, your mileage may vary with this card, but for me personally, this shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr., is unbelievable. Now, I'm biased. I'm a Royals fan, but the 125 clutch on this card makes this card go crazy because if there's anybody on base, now he has 125 clutch with good power and like one of the best swings in the game. I feel like he drills the ball with his swing. 99 speed, has good arm strength. The fielding is not that great. It's only just about to hit silver with parallel 5. I'm trying to get him to parallel 5, but this card just plays so well in the game. It feels Mike Troutish. Like he just plays really, really well. And I don't know if that is my own bias. I don't know if that's because I've been practicing with his card for the past couple years since he's become more of a face in the league, but he is by far one of my favorite cards. And on my list, I've got him top 5. I love using this card. At number 6, I'm actually going to go with this Ozzie Smith. And you might be thinking, well, he has no power at all. Take him to Shields Woods. I bet he can hit some home runs. And I like the 110, 107, still has 103 in his clutch. The defense is Ozzie Smith. 99 fielding, 99 reaction, 97 accuracy. You're never going to mess up any throws. It has up to 90 arm as well, which is really nice for relay throws. 92 speed. Like he's got a little bit of potential here if he gets paralleled up to get even more speed. No real hitting quirks. I've never minded his swing. I actually think he would be a very good shortstop. He's just very good all the way around. I like the switch hitting. Again, put him in an elevated park, he can smash the ball. Put him in something like Polo Grounds, hit one to the gap, he's scoring. I like this card a lot. Again, low power, but I think we can make that work. And in the number 7 spot, the only reason I cannot make this card higher is because I have not used him myself. 105, 109, 95, 97. I like everything I see there. The defense is fine. The speed is fine. Clutch is not that great. Obviously not a lot of quirks, but maybe I'll have to try out his card at some point, or let me know down in the comment section if he should have been rated higher. But he's got all the math. Moving on to second base. This is your best second baseman in the game. Ketel Marte. Unbelievable. Does he play like great defense? defense? No, but he plays average enough defense. Even if you want to put him in something like left field, which is a good spot for him, it's his hitting. His swing is phenomenal. It just feels like he has great bat control. Like you could blast one over the wall, blast one in the gap. Maybe you have a runner on third base and all you need to do is just put it in play for a base hit. Like that's his swing. He just has a great bat control, 117 clutch, 125, 105 versus lefties. Just a great card. Don't be scared off by him not having the quirks. Just trust me, this card is phenomenal and he has a lot of versatility. He's worth every penny of these stubs. The closest card to Marte is this Joe Morgan to me. This is, to me, one of the best cards in the game at second base, no doubt about it. I've used him a little bit. I've got him to parallel one. I've hit home runs left on left with this card. 97 speed at parallel one. It's going to be 99. 97 fielding, 92 reaction. So he's a better fielder than Marte. 125 on the contact versus right and 83 power versus right. He always plays like he has more power than that. He has 108 on the clutch. He's got dead red. He's got breaking ball hitter. He's just a really good all-around player. He's not super expensive really either. In our third spot, I have Curtis Mead. Now, I've not used this card myself, but I feel like I'm pretty dang plugged in to the MLB The Show community, and I follow a lot of players that are very good at the game. Pretty much my entire Twitter timeline is just people talking about MLB The Show, and I'm seeing this dude's name pop up a lot, and that is Curtis Mead. People are saying he has an unbelievable swing. He has 108, 114, 94, 98, which is really good power for a second baseman in this game. 73 speed, good enough defense, kind of probably has that Kettle Marte type of defense where it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. No quirks for him, but this is a card that I definitely want to try out. I'm just hearing great things about him. Number 4 spot, I got to go with Robinson Cano. He's not very fast, always has a good swing, lots of clutch, lots of power. I got to go with him in the number 4 spot. And then kind of the opposite of Robinson Cano is this Craig Biggio. Just instead of the power, he's got the contact and the speed and the defense. The next spot, I actually got to go with Brandon Lowe. Very bad defense, but he has the old school MLB The Show 16 Anthony Rizzo swing, which is one of the best swings in the game. He's got a ton of power. You get him from the AL East Team Affinity. This card was amazing for me in the left on left mini season. If you're trying to go through that, I really like this card, and I just wanted to put it on the list because he's not going to get talked about much otherwise, but this is a really good card. And then finally, I'm going to go with Gleyber Torres. Just always has a really good swing. Not that great defensively, not that fast. Tons of power versus left. I just got to put him in this spot. But kind of the thing, just like the outfield, lots of shortstops can play second base. The second base can play third base. Third base can play second base. So out of these infielders that we've just talked about, you could kind of find a combination that works for you because there's a lot of players that have secondary. So that Francisco Lindor, he could play second base and on and on and on. All right, the best first baseman in the game right now probably is Lou Gehrig. He's just kind of the truth. There's no other way to explain it. He has the silver defense, which is nice. He's a left-handed first baseman, which is just nice for defense. You always kind of want a left-handed first baseman if you can get one. 55 speed isn't bad at all for first base. He's got an unbelievable swing. The hitting is right around that 100 level. He has all the quirks that you would ever want. I think I have to rate him as the best first baseman. 115 clutch. He's phenomenal. And it's tough because McGuire probably has the best numbers, especially once you get him to parallel 5, more speed than Gehrig, would have that silver fielding. He started off with his original swing and then they just switched his swing to somebody else's swing, trying to make it better because his original swing was kind of like Mike Piazza. There just wasn't a lot of cues within his launch position of his swing or anything like that. So they tried to switch it to be more like that, but they ended up making his swing even worse. He's still the second best first baseman. You could even argue that he is the best because it's just 125, 125. But I think Lou is just probably going to be a more consistent hitter for you just because his swing is so much better. I really like this card. If they would do anything, either find another swing form or just go back to the original one. I've still really liked using this card. It's just, it's really difficult to put this card at number 1. At number 3, I'm going to go with this Freddie Freeman card. Now, I did not get to use this card as much as I would have liked to. I used him in the very first event, the WBC event. This card is very, very, very good. 50-some speed, defense is fine enough. The 118, 100 with a 125 clutch. 125 clutch. He's going to play way above those power numbers with his swing. He has unfazed dead red and breaking ball hitter and first pitch hitter, day player, road warrior. He's a beast. At number 4, I'm going to go with this Captain Buck O'Neil. And the reason that I'm going to go with the Captain Buck O'Neil is even this card by itself is very, very good. Diamond defense, 78 speed at first base, which is unbelievable. Good contact from both sides, not the worst swing in the world. And if you want a really good team build to start off, obviously Trout and Mantle are going to cost a lot. You're going to have to go with some different options there. Maybe like, Cedric Mullins or King Griffey Jr. You're going to have to go with some different options there. But what Buck can do if you go through all the MLB moments is you can stack all these cards, get this tier 3 boost that gives 25 power to right and left and 25 hits per 9 and 25 BB per 9 to your pitching staff. Now, it doesn't give these boosts to someone like Trout or Lindor. It just goes for the actual MLB series, but it allows you to put together an unbelievable pitching staff. I love all of these pitchers, especially John Donaldson. That is probably my favorite pitcher in the game right now. Until we get like a 99 though, or if I have to use this boost, I really can't use them as much, but I love pitching with this card. But anyways, that gives Buck an added element here to his game. The fact that he can do some captain boosting as well. I really, really like this card. If you're just getting the game, go through these moments and build your team out like that. You're going to get a ton of boosts to be able to go through Concourse with a super stacked team. At number 5, this is going to surprise you, but I got to go with Jeff Bagwell. Now, his swing is not very good at all, but everything else is there. So if you can get his swing down, he's going to have the gold fielding. He's going to have good speed. He has good hitting. He has the clutch, and he has a bunch of quirks. So if you can find a way to enjoy using his swing, he'll be a beast. At number 6, and he should probably be higher than this, is Miguel Cabrera. Just has only the 30 speed, has not very good defense, but offensively, 108, 125, 102, 95 with 125 clutch. He is very good as well. All right, moving on to catcher. Now, the number 1 catcher spot, I have not used this card. I've just used his live series version. This has to be the best catcher in the game still. Even with Jorge Posada, this has to be the best catcher because he's got great contact, great power. That 87 power played just fine in something like Shieldwoods Park. Unbelievable defense. I mean, 92 fielding, 99 arm, 93 block. His speed is at 88, which potentially can get up into the 90s at parallel 3. As dead red, unfazed, just a phenomenal catcher. I just think he's overall better than Jorge Posada. It's tough because it's close and they aren't very similar in their styles, but I think JT is better. It's tough though because Jorge Posada is just always so good in MLB The Show, like year after year after year. Even his lower tier diamond is just fine. His 87. This is one of the better Posadas that I can remember us getting to because he has a decent amount of speed for him at 40. His swing is phenomenal. 101, 117 versus righties. That is a sneaky amount of power versus righties. Then 125, 92, which is great versus lefties. He doesn't have dead red or breaking ball hitter, but he always plays above his numbers. It's tough. I mean, JT is really good. Jorge Posada is really good. It just kind of depends. Do you want a faster catcher with a little bit more kind of a gap-to-gap power, or do you want more power with that switch hitting ability? It's tough, but that's how I'm going to roll with this rating. Now, I've not had the chance to use this card very much either. I've used his like bronze and BR and stuff like that. But there's a lot to like here with 90, 111, 115, 125. Also 114 clutch, so there's no fall off there. Defense is more than fine for a catcher. Speed's okay for a catcher. But I'm going to go with Alvarez in the 3 spot. Now, here's an affordable catcher that I really, really do like a lot. He just has one problem, and that is that he has the 80 clutch, which is tough. I don't like that about him. If he had anything higher, like 95 clutch, it'd be perfect. This card is really, really good, though. Switch hitting ability, power and contact, 71 speed, serviceable defense, some secondaries. He's got a really good swing. I like Indy Rodriguez a lot. Now, your mileage may vary with this Gary Carter card. I'm personally not a big fan of using this card. For whatever reason, I just have never really liked his swing. Has very low clutch as well at 89, but he has to be on this list because he has too much math not to be on this list. He's going to roll with breaking ball hitter as well. If you try his swing and like it, you might really like this card, especially with 116, 119 versus left. Now, this is kind of a special spot on this list. Martin is really good in this game, especially with the Buck O'Neil boost. With the Buck O'Neil boost, he gets dang near like 117 power. He has 86 speed, phenomenal defense at catcher, like 88 fielding and a 95 arm. He has the same swing as Rogers Hornsby did. It's that same animation, which is one of the best swings ever. Very low contact, but that really won't matter until you get up to like Hall of Fame and Legend. When he has the boost, he's as good as any catcher in the game. Without the boost, obviously not so much, but he's very good. I'm going to go with Mitch Garver as another great catcher as well. Just has a really good power and a really good swing. Get him from tops now. Mike Napoli is also very good. Salvador Perez is also very good. Just lacks the speed. Brings the bat. Defense is okay. Lacks the overall speed. And I'm really not trying to go out of position for this list, but this player has to be mentioned with his secondary of catcher. He's got a great swing, has less power versus left, obviously, but this is one of the best catchers in the game, and you can get him for free from the World Baseball Classic program. He's got to be mentioned. He has to be mentioned. I know it's out of position, but this is a player that is so good out of position that it feels like this is his primary position. Now let's talk about DH. Best DH in the game. It has to be Babe Ruth. I mean, it just has to be. Number 2, I would go with Trout or the WBC Trout. Just so much speed on top of the hitting. Number 3, I'm going to go with Chipper Jones, and any of these first 3 picks could be argued to be number 1. But just a switch hitting ability, good speed, tons of hitting math, so he's unbelievable. Number 4, I'm going to go with Anthony Santander. He's just that good at hitting. He's that good of a swing, not much power. He's so scary to face. Switch hitting ability, add him to your team. He's that good. Next, I'm going to go with Griffey. Just unbelievable swing. All the quirks. He's almost too good defensively to have in this spot, but he has to be mentioned. Kind of the same with like Jazz and Trey Turner with their speed. Then we will go Sammy Sosa. Would be unbelievable as a DH. Then I'm going to go with a couple of fun ones for our last spot here. Eloy Jimenez. Really good player in this game. Would be an excellent DH. And then honestly, I got to go with this Mickey Mantle. I mean, tons of speed, switching ability, can put it to the gap, can put it over the wall, can get the base hit. Phenomenal swing. What's not to like? I think he'd make a great DH, honestly. All right, we're going to talk about the starting pitchers here, and I really don't have this card ranked. I'm going back as I'm editing the video now, looking at this, and I did not rank Martinez. With the cost that it is to get Martinez, you definitely out of this pack want to take Babe Ruth and Chipper Jones first. It's not that this card is bad. I've used them a couple times in BR. It's just that for what you have to do to get this card, it's not even close to as good as the Babe or the Chipper Jones. It's fine. It's a fine card, but definitely take Babe Ruth and definitely take Chipper Jones. And if you somehow get this card later on in June or July, that's fine, but it's not make or break to have this card. So I wanted to put this in there because I'm going back right now and editing the video, and it's just, I need to have a couple of thoughts on him. All right, now let's talk about starting pitchers. The best starting pitcher in the game is Roki Sasaki. He's one of the best starting pitchers in the history of MLB The Show, in my opinion, because he goes from the stretch. He has good H per 9 and K per 9. He's got the outlier on the sinker and the fastball. He has a cutter, a forkball, and a slider. So he's got kind of the ideal pitch set. To me, he is pound for pound the best starting pitcher in the game. Next, I'm going to go with Yu Darvish is the next best starting pitcher. Again, from the stretch, it's a little bit different if somebody's on base. He's kind of got that dual stretch where he goes from the stretch and it's a little bit longer when nobody's on base. But he has an excellent pitch mix as well. Just a lot of different tricky pitch shapes to try try to hit. In the third slot, I have not used this card yet this year, but this is going to be the third best pitcher in the game, starting pitcher wise, is Adam Wainwright, just because he has the sinker and the cutter, which are extremely effective. Look at the control he has even on the sweeping curve and the sinker and the cutter. They're phenomenal. He's got a great motion. He's 6'7", so he's super tall. It's difficult to pick up the ball off of him. I got to go with him as the third best starting pitcher. Fourth best, I've got to go with Shohei Ohtani. I've not used this card either, but he is going to be phenomenal. He's got amazing hitting stats as well. 101, 125, 96, 116 with 99 speed. So he's unbelievable if you wanted to use him as DH. You want to put him in the outfield. Definitely the only card in the game that has both outlier, dead red, and breaking ball hitter. Now, this is one of my favorite pitchers to use in the game. Has very low H/9 and K/9 and even stamina. But I like using this Paul Blackburn card a lot. I think he's difficult to pick up. He has excellent pitches, the sinker, the cutter, and then a 12-6 curve that you can just throw on 0-2. Really, really like this card a lot. Next, we're going to go with Bob Gibson. Just has the outlier on the four-seam fastball. Pretty good pitch mix. 125 on the pitching clutch as well. Next up on our list is Bob Feller. Had one of my mods tell me yesterday that his four-seam outlier fastball got up to 104 miles per hour. Gonna put Bob in this spot. Gonna go Dustin May next. Great H/9 and K/9. Has good stamina, good pitch mix with a sinker, slurve, four-seam, and cutter. Excellent. Now, this one's kind of a personal preference for me, but I love this Kodai Senga card. Pitches from the stretch, which I really like. Has a really fast fastball and then a really slow forkball by comparison. Also has a cutter and a slider. This is a really ideal card for grinding versus the CPU, for quick events. I really even like him at ranks, but I feel like I'm going to be a lot higher on this card than other people, but I really like this one. This Nick Lodolo tops now. I really like this card as well. Four-seam slurve, sinker, circle change. Has a good pitch mix, has a good motion. Just a good pitcher. I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom next. Has low stamina, but he really just still has that great fastball, slider, circle change, curveball. He still can be difficult to deal with. Next, I'm going to go with Alek Manoah. I just like that he goes from the stretch as a four-seam slider, sinker, and a circle change. Has all the pitches that I would need. And then he has 112 pitching clutch. Then I talked about him earlier. I have him at parallel 4. I love using this card versus the computer and with the Buck O'Neil boost. I can't wait till he gets to a 99. When he gets to 99, he's going to be one of my favorite pitchers in the game, and that is John Donaldson. Next, we're going to go with Tom Glavine. Just unbelievable pitch control, good pitch mix. Not good K/9, but still can get the job done. This is a new card from the BR program who does not have good H/9 or K/9 by any stretch. His curveball is very effective though. I really liked using him in the BR program so far, so I'm actually going to put him on this list because he does pitch out of this stretch. I actually do like this card. I don't think he's going to be dominant if you were to pick him up, but it's a card that I enjoy using. And then finally, I'm going to talk about Hunter Green. Just always one of my favorite pitchers to use. Only has the four-seam slider and the circle change, but just a very enjoyable card to use. All right, moving on to relief pitchers. This is the best relief pitcher in the game, in my opinion. The screwball, the cutter, and the four-seam fastball. He pitches out of the stretch now. 125, 125. The screwball, the cutter, and the four-seam fastball are like the easiest motions to do and pinpoint. So he's just phenomenal. Number 2, I got to go with Billy Wagner. Best left-handed reliever in the game. Outlier on the four-seam. Just a really great reliever. Third spot, I got to go with Gregory Soto just because of the overall lack of left-handed great relievers. He's got to be number 3 in my book. Has the outlier on the sinker. Always really, really good. Only pitches from the stretch. Fourth spot, we're going to go with Daniel Bard, 125-94. I mean, he's got great H/9, has great sinker, slider, four-seam, circle change. A lot to like here with Daniel Bard. In my fifth spot, I'm going to go with Jonathan Loaiza. I just really like his motion. He has the outlier sinker. He has a much slower slurve. Very, very, very difficult to hit off of if you're a right-handed hitter. Number 6 slot, we're going to go with Josh Hader, 125 on both sides. The two-seam, the slider, and the circle change. Very good lefty as well. Taylor Rogers is again high on the list because there's about 4 left-handed reliever diamonds that are very good, and he just has to be up on this list because he fills that 4th left-handed relief spot. I'm going to go with Duvall in the next spot as well. Just slider, cutter, sinker. And then in the 9th spot, I'm going to go with Shohei Ohtani. I'd much rather have the starting pitcher version, but overall, he's not too bad. And in conclusion, one thing that you would want to check from time to time here is going to the player updates and then going to these supercharged players. Lots of these players are just unbelievable with the supercharge. So be sure to check here if you want some budget beasts. Well, thank you so much for checking out this positional tier list for MLB The Show 23 Diamond Dynasty for the month of April. If you missed our first upload of the year, it is 30 tips in MLB The Show to make you better at the game. Be sure to check out that video. It's a longer one, but I'm telling you, I'm very confident that that video will help you out tremendously. So be sure to check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.